Hey everyone, this is Josh from before, and I'm here with McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label Azrael Suit of Sorrows. And this is a repaint of the White Knight Azrael that we got about a little more than a year ago. Just one note, like I understand the repaints, it's not a huge deal for me, but the fact that all the Gold Label releases are repaints pretty much, it just feels it doesn't feel Gold Label, right? To just have a repaint of a year-old figure. That said, I think this is a really cool, creative repaint, and I am looking forward to getting it out of the box, because this Azrael remains, I think, to this day, one of the best figures from this Multiverse line. So let's just get him out. So here he is. If you've never seen this guy out of the box or in person, like, it's a real treat. These flags, his cape thing that are made of these separate little hanging flags, are really impressive. Just any way you turn him and look at him, he just really cuts a really strong silhouette, and just looks super unique. This is a kind of interesting repaint because they've taken a sculpt that was designed with a very specific art style, which is Sean Murphy's White Knight style, and they've taken a more traditional comic color scheme and put it on there, and I think it's partially successful. And this might just be personal taste. I really like the white and red, like Templar look. I love this cross here, and I love what they did on the mask. I would have rather seen, I think, a white hood with the red, more like Arkham Knight. I would have liked to have seen this white continue up here with the red arrow kind of embellishment on the front with the red flags. That's just personal taste. I know that's not what he looks like in the comics, but that's just me. And then I also think, like, this white, this sort of gray, very light gray right next to this white, it just doesn't quite pop. I think it should be a darker color, again, similar to how Azrael looks in Arkham Knight. And so, like I said, I love the red details, the cross, and this face, but it feels a little neglected on the rest of the paint apps. I think this should be red as well, just to give that pop. The fact that this is unpainted plastic makes it look cheaper than it is, unfortunately. Did they miss that, or is that deliberate? That's terrible, not hitting that cross. And if it sounds like I'm being harsh, I'm just saying, like, this first one had considerably more details, I think. You know what I mean? Like, they just put, this is all white with the silver. This is the red fabric with the gold, and then the red. See, this is painted and has red on there, unpainted. You know what I mean? The tassels here are different color. They're not here. The gauntlets are gold. These are just all one color on his arms. So again, it just makes me, question why they would call this a gold label when it feels a little less impressive than the original version. But so let's get moving him around a bit. This is a really fun aspect of this, which is head moves with the hood, but then it also moves independent of the hood as well underneath. Really, really satisfying. Really just makes it really fun, and gives him a lot of imposing sort of emotional range, you know what I mean? He's got real big beefy arms that have pretty decent shoulder movement and a bicep cut. It's a single elbow, but and you can see that pin there, but if you hate a single elbow, you're gonna be annoyed, but it looks better, I think, than a big ugly double elbow cut in there. This white ball joint is really ugly up in there. I don't know why that couldn't be painted to match, or if that was a choice, it seems like an odd one. Again, This was one of the first figures that people started going crazy with customizing and adding extra articulation to. I know one of the issues was kind of getting his arms together so he could do a two-hand hold on his sword. We'll look at that more in a minute. Pretty good, you know, ab crunch. A lot better than many of the figures in this line. One thing he's missing is he doesn't have a really good thigh swivel at all. Like, he gets up here and there's a little bit of give, but I mean, he does have, with the way his robe here kind of hangs in front, he's got a lot of leg movement. Double knees work really well. Again, like, this is sort of a flashback to, you know, one of the first waves they did in this multiverse, and it's you could, you know, if you can remember back then, it was no surprise that this line became so successful when they were doing figures like this right out the gate. Just really fantastic. A really fun, cool looking figure. I like the Knights Templar look to Azrael. In fact, I definitely prefer it in theory to this red and gold version, but they just didn't quite hit some of the details, and then just some of the choices based on the paint inspiration. They just don't quite just set me on fire. So here we have his sword, which is a really fantastic accessory. It has this these flames that slide right off, so you can have him with just his regular sword. You could have it on fire. You can have it, if you have it pointing down, you can have the flames wrapping up around it. Really cool accessory, but again, less paint than the original one. You know, like, that's just a shame. You hate to see it. But, you know, again, to bring up that one sort of articulation issue, you know, you've got a guy, a religious fanatic character. You want him to be able to hold that sword with both hands in that sort of, like, almost prayer type, warrior, you know, prayer type pose, but he doesn't quite get there. I know some people have had success where they pop the arms out, take that middle butterfly sort of thing out, and they can get a little bit more range. But the way his beefy chest sort of hits right here, it's gonna be pretty tricky to get much extra out of it. And it can be done if you really, really push it. It can be done, but it's not quite it looks a little awkward. You know, it looks forced. So here he is in a quick warrior pose. Let's see how he looks next to some of the other figures from the White Knight line. White Knight wave, I should say, not line. So he fits in pretty well with these guys, obviously. Again, I mean, if you missed out on the first Azrael, I think you can still kind of find him in some places. He might be a little more difficult to find. I think this is the lesser version, unfortunately. I really want to favor this one just because I do prefer, again, the Templar outfit over these red robes and with the gold. But it just, yeah, you know, for my personal taste, didn't quite get all the way there, unfortunately. But again, I still think this is one of the dopest figures that they've done in this multiverse line. So, you know, for me, this is a keeper, and I really like it. Might try to do some additional paint myself just to get it a little bit closer to my vision for it. But despite it being a repaint, I still think this is worth picking up. So that's it for this one. I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.